When most people think of the word volcano, they picture a circular cone with a triangular profile such as Mount Mayon in the Philippines, which is often referred to as the planet's most symmetrical volcano. However, as you might have guessed by this title, not all volcanoes look like this or even close to this. Take, for example, the El Elegante crater in Mexico, which does not have a large central raised rim on its edge, or this rare volcanic feature in British Columbia with a flat top. Both of these still represent volcano types. This video will now briefly discuss the various varieties of volcanoes which form around the globe and explain how they form. The first type of volcano we will cover is also the most simplistic, fissure volcanoes. A fissure vent volcano does not have a central peak, but rather is defined by a series of straight-line cracks in the crust known as fissures. These fissures are typically the result of a divergent plate boundary-related stress or overall extension in the crust. During a fissure eruption, lava erupts from a long section of a fissure and slowly travels down the slope. The vast majority of the world's oceanic crust was formed by this type of volcano at various mid-ocean ridges around the planet. One example of a fissure volcano which you can see on land is the Hertali volcano in Ethiopia. Where things can get a bit confusing relates to when a fissure eruption occurs on land for a long enough amount of time that it narrows into a series of spatter cones, although occasionally cinder cones and Mars also form, thus creating a row of craters rather than a continuous line of activity. This is known as a crater row volcano, with one example being Iceland's Reykjanes volcano. The third type of volcano can occur as a unique volcano or be part of a vent on a much larger volcano. What I am referring to are cinder cones, which are a type of medium-sized volcanic cone. Cinder cones, also called scoria cones, have a cone shape with a central vent and are formed by mildly explosive eruptions. During these eruptions, fine particles of ash are ejected from the volcano and largely fall close to the erupting vent, thus building the cone. One notable cinder cone is Pyroclastic in Mexico. However, sometimes a cinder cone-like vent forms at a silicic volcano, forming not only out of cinders but also pumice. These features are known as pumice cones and form in far more explosive eruptions than their cinder cone counterparts. Typical pumice cone-forming eruptions first deposit pumice in a cone around a vent, then depositing fine ash, before generating one or more viscous lava flows. The fifth type of a volcano is a broad, gently inclining edifice that resembles the side view of a round medieval period shield. It is from this that we get the name shield volcano. Shield volcanoes form from the largely effusive eruption of low viscosity lavas which move relatively quickly. Due to their fast movement speed, these lavas are deposited far from their erupting vent and thus build a very gentle slope. The largest volcanoes in the world by volume are shield volcanoes, with one example being Mauna Loa in Hawaii. However, not all shield volcanoes are created equal. Sometimes shield volcanoes form not through primarily effusive eruptions, but instead primarily explosive eruptions. Known as pyroclastic shield volcanoes, these form through numerous subplinian to plinian eruptions with a low but broad eruption column that disperses ash over a wide area. One example of such is Imai in the nation of Chad. A stratovolcano has the stereotypical profile of a volcano with a relatively steep slope that increases up until the peak of the mountain. Stratovolcanoes are built from overlapping layers of ash from explosive eruptions overlaid with lava flows. Stratovolcanoes are generally built out of andesite or basaltic andesite and often have a distinguishable gray color. When highly viscous lava erupts onto the surface, typically of a dacite or rhyolite composition, it often forms a dome-shaped feature with a steep drop-off at the edge of a flow. Sometimes volcanoes can be built by one or more of these, and thus are termed lava dome complexes. The Lassen Peak volcano is a perfect example of this, as one of its recent eruptive centers, known as the Chaos Crags, consists of 6 overlapping domes of dacite lava. I hope that you found today's video helpful. Tomorrow's video will briefly discuss the remaining 7 volcano types, which will be linked on the left-hand side of the end video screen once it goes live. As a final note, I would like to thank my patron Harold Snyder for upgrading their membership tier to this channel.